Tonight on News at 9, celebrating Eid ul-Fitr. Muslims across the world celebrated the end of the month of Ramadan today.
First at 9. This is Derana 24/7.
Also making headlines, garbage disposal. Mega Police Minister says ready to implement a permanent solution to the garbage issue. Ravi in Kandy. Minister Ravi Karunanayaka says he's only a small nut of a big machine.
මම UMP එකේ ඒ ලොකු මෙසිමේ පොඩි නට් එකක්.
Daylight robbery. CCTV camera assists the police in investigations of a robbery. And in international headlines, panic in the skies. Air Asia pilot asks terrified passengers to say a prayer as the plane shakes violently. Good evening, Mahesh Johnny with Derana 24/7. While wishing all our Muslim viewers Eid Mubarak, we begin tonight with a look at the celebrations of Eid ul-Fitr across Sri Lanka. The Islamic community of Sri Lanka today celebrated the festival of Eid ul-Fitr, marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Sri Lanka was among several countries that celebrated Eid today, with others celebrating yesterday following confirmation of the moon sighting on Saturday.
With the first sighting of the new moon following a month of fasting, prayer and austerity observed by the Islamic community across the world, Eid al-Fitr officially began last night in Sri Lanka. Celebrating equality, unity and brotherhood, Muslims gathered to pray at various locations across the country today. The main religious observances were held at the Goal Face Green this morning with the attendance of over 1,000 devotees. Religious observances in the Batiklo district were held at the Kartankudi beach. The Hatton Jummah Mosque hosted devotees from the estate community. The Islamic community in Jaffna also took part in religious observances for Eid. Let's take a look at how Eid al-Fitr was celebrated across the world. Tight security was in effect in Pakistan as Eid al-Fitr celebrations took place amid a spate of recent terror attacks. After the sighting of the moon in several countries on Saturday night, people evacuated from 5 London tower blocks over fire safety concerns celebrated Eid at a community centre yesterday. Meanwhile, residents of eastern Mosul in Iraq celebrated their first Eid al-Fitr free from the dominion of so-called Islamic State.
President Maithripala Sirisena extended his wishes to the Islamic community of the country as they celebrated Eid ul-Fitr today. In his message, the president stated that the mutual respect, charity and sacrifice practiced in society during the holy month of Ramadan shows that the emancipation of human beings depends not on self-interest but on sensitivity to others' welfare. The president added that the message conveyed through Eid ul-Fitr is universal. In other local stories, Health Minister Rajitha Senaratne calls entrepreneurs to send in proposals to establish more pharmaceutical manufacturing firms for the local market. The minister was addressing the gathering at an event to declare open a new pharmaceutical manufacturing facility held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena today.
After declaring the facility in Pallekele in Kandy open, President Maithripala Sirisena also engaged in a factory visit during which he started the operation of a capsule filling machine. Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, who participated in the opening ceremony as guest of honour, then addressed the event.
This is our policy to produce all our pharmaceutical needs and other devices in this country. This is one of the policies of the late Professor Seneka Bibile. We wanted all the entrepreneurs, we call for proposals to produce pharmaceutical in this country. The same way now there are another 2 factories to be started very soon at Derana. We have signed now 24 factories, and there are another 3 proposals have come here. They all are coming for a joint venture with the SPMC. So the cabinet decided, the president, actually I wanted only 10 years. For those who come for the joint ventures, he said no, give 15 years. That is how the leaders must think. Those who come our local manufacturers, we must give the best, not the importers or other people. This is where the country will develop. This is where we can save the foreign exchange. This is where we can increase the foreign deposits. What they produce, we buy. That's a guarantee. In 2020, we go to the polls, we have to show our results. We can't just talk theories again in 2020. How much we have achieved, how much we have done.
Minister of Megapolis and Western Development Patali Champika Ranawaka blames legal issues, financial obstacles and social protest for the failure of Sri Lanka's waste management system. He made these remarks at a media briefing on the new waste management project to be implemented in Aruwakkalu in Puttlam.
Due to 3 facts, waste management in this country has failed. One is the legal issue. Because there is no proper mechanism, the President and the Prime Minister had to get involved. We have proposed that a central waste management authority should be established to manage waste in all the main cities. The second reason is financial. Proper waste disposal costs at least 10 rupees per kilo. No government has made proper investment on waste management. The third reason is the protest from society. Wherever we try to dump waste, the public starts to protest.
Minister Ranawaka also pointed out sites which can be used for proper waste disposal.
After establishing the Lanka Cement Corporation, we have been able to extract 1.4 million tons of limestone every year. However, we produce less than 1 million tons of garbage a year. It's not a problem if you dump garbage in a limestone cavity. This is the best solution within the country, and we will start the new project in September. If there are people who try to sabotage this project, then responsibility for the garbage in Colombo and the issues that arise due to improper garbage management is on them. If they are unhappy with the project or if they criticize it, we will stop the project.
Speaking to Ada Derana, the Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development, P. Suresh said that a cabinet paper has been submitted regarding the contractors of the project.
It is a sanitary landfill site to transport 1,200 metric tons solid waste to Aruwakkalu. Our country, actually, this is the best method where already the cavities were developed due to the harvesting of limestones. July, we are going to do the contract documents to the leading 11 contractors, so for which cabinet paper is already submitted, and World Bank promised to give financial assistance and the technical support.
The Joint Postal Trade Union Front will commence a continuous strike from midnight tonight. More than 25,000 employees attached to 653 post offices, 3,410 sub-post offices and 100 agency post offices will engage in the strike, focusing on 3 demands. Meanwhile, Postmaster General Rohana Aberatna requested the trade unions to withhold the strike as required actions are already underway to fulfill their demands.
Have indicated 3 reasons. Number 1, according to the 2006 circular, that is basically restructuring of public service, a scheme of recruitment and promotions, a scheme of the department is in trouble. That means that Sri Lanka Post in a very difficult situation to apply that procedure, that policy to the department. We accept there are some issues on scheme of recruitment and promotion. We have already submitted cabinet paper on 30th May 2017. Now that is on pending. We need to get some kind of cabinet decision on that. The second one is there is an issue with our historical postal buildings. It says that the government is going to put up tourist hotels, especially in Nuwara Post Office and Gold Fort Post Office and Kandy Post Office. Nuwara Post Office, there is a proposal, it's a conceptual level. Still no documents are going here and there to hand over this building or sell this building. And Kandy Post Office and Gold Post Office also, there are some proposals, but all are in conceptual level, nothing has been implemented. And also they inform us to shift our postal museum and political bureau, there won't be any problem. I request all trade unions, as responsible trade unions, we all are waiting for the cabinet decision. Until such time, that cannot be justified, this trade union action.
Welcome back, everyone. 4 armed robbers held up a van at gunpoint and got away with almost 8 million rupees this morning. Police say that they are currently investigating the matter. Meanwhile, a suspect in Varakapula succumbed to gunshot injuries after police foiled his attempt at robbing a furniture showroom in the early hours of this morning.
A van belonging to a textile chain was travelling from an outlet in Kadawatha to the chain's main showroom in Wattala, carrying 7.7 million rupees. A CCTV camera from a nearby shop captured a car bearing number plate UN 9431 following the van as it left the store. The van transporting the money reportedly drove past the Ragama flyover at around 10:50 a.m. when the suspect's car attempted to block the van near Basilica College in Ragama. The driver of the van said that he and his colleague were confronted by 4 thieves.
The suspect cornered our vehicle and 2 of them jumped out of their cars and then threatened us with guns. They stole the bags of money and fled. They shot out our tires. The car was silver in color, but I'm not sure what make it was. I only took the number plate down.
According to the police, investigations are being led by the Senior Superintendent of Police in Kalaniya. It was also revealed that the owner of a vehicle bearing the number UN 9431 is a resident of Kalalgoda, who however claims that the number plate was stolen when the car was placed at a garage for repair.
This car was left at the garage last Friday to be repaired. The number plate of this car and another one was stolen. When the owner of the car came to pick it up, he noticed that both number plates were stolen. We dialed 119 and lodged a complaint. Then went to the Thalangama police to make an entry. It was then that we learned that a robbery has been committed with the stolen number plates in Ragama.
Meanwhile, a suspect was shot dead by police while attempting to break into a furniture showroom in Varakapula at 2:30 a.m. today. The alarm sounded when the suspect attempted to enter the store, which immediately notified the main showroom in Itambur, where employees called 119 for assistance. Police response was swift as the Varakapula police station is situated just 300 meters away from the site of the attempted robbery. The suspect attempted to throw a hand grenade at the police, but it failed to detonate. The police then fired at the suspect, who tried to escape along a nearby canal, wounding him mortally. The suspect, whose identity has not yet been confirmed by the police, succumbed to his injuries upon admission to the Varakapula hospital. The police special task force arrived at the location later and removed the hand grenade from the area.
In other local stories, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa alleges that the present government is attempting to divide the country via the proposed new constitution. He made these claims after participating at a religious ceremony in Kurunagala.
After terrorism was defeated, they have the freedom to do whatever they want. They are trying to bring in a new constitution which divides the country. They do not stop there. They have already made proposals to change the prominence given to Buddhism by the present constitution, but they say that they won't change it. They will also bring foreign judges here. When we question it, they say they won't, but TNA MP Sumanthiran says that both the President and Prime Minister have promised to do so. My understanding is nothing can be done if not allowed by the Constitution. But there is precedent, as they appointed a non-citizen of the country to the highest chair of the central bank. I don't think people in this country voted for the government to engage in these kinds of activities.
In one of our headline stories, General Secretary of the Askiri chapter, Venerable Medananda Dhammananda Thera says Madhugama Dhammananda Thera says that the government should be more responsible when they make decisions on matters pertaining to international relations. Venerable Dhammananda Thera told Foreign Affairs Minister Ravi Karunanika today that there are allegations that the government has become too accommodating towards foreign advice.
Foreign Affairs Minister Ravi Karunanayake engaged in religious activities at the sacred temple of the Tooth Relic this morning before visiting the chief prelates of the Askari and Malvat chapters. The minister also spoke with the General Secretary of Askari chapter, Venerable Madhugama Dhammananda Thera.
There is talk that the government prioritizes the ideas and views of foreign countries, which is not good. It could be some planned allegations. However, the Mahasangha is always available to advise the government in power. We do not have political motives. Yes, we learned that several such stories have been created. It is our responsibility to remove these wrong ideas from society.
Minister Ravi Karunanayake also answered a few questions raised by the media.
I'm only a very small cog in the large machine called UNP. I assure that we will make all possible efforts to regain confidence in the party.
The Government Medical Officers Association alleges that there are several ambiguous points in the statement issued by the Presidential Secretariat detailing the government's stance on the South Asian Institute of Technology and Medicine, or SITEM. Speaking at a media briefing today, Assistant Secretary of GMOA, Dr. Haritha Aludge, said a team of representatives held another meeting at the Presidential Secretariat today and warned that if the issue is not resolved soon, trade union action will follow.
Various words have been added to the clauses upon which we agreed with the President, distorting the essence of their meaning. There are many ambiguous points in this statement. This speaks not about conditions that will be enforced, but of conditions that already have been enforced. Our question is, who enforced these conditions and when? There are some points that we did not agree upon at all. The Presidential Secretary must immediately reveal who exerted such influence that changes were made. The statement promises to change the administration of SITEM and run it as a joint venture of the government and private sector. Who spoke about the stock market? This is not what we agreed. We want SITEM to be abolished and finally vested with the public. We cannot accept the majority of proposals in this statement.
The National Police Commission states that a report has been requested from the Inspector General of Police regarding the assault of university students who protested at the Ministry of Health last week. 2 more students were arrested for their alleged involvement in the incident, which reportedly caused significant damages to public property.
Secretary of the National Police Commission Aryadasa Kure stated that further steps will be taken over the incident following the report, which is expected within the next couple of days. 2 more university students aged 24 and 22 were arrested for alleged involvement in the protest at the Health Ministry premises and produced before the Siambalanduwa and Maliga Kanda courts today. Convener of the Inter-University Students Federation, Lahiru Veerasekara, and convener of the Inter-University Bhikkhu Federation, Venerable Tampitiye Sugatananda Thero, have also been arrested and remanded in connection with the incident.
Moving on to business news now. At the World Airline Awards held at the Paris Air Show last week, Skytrax announced the world's top 100 airlines in 2017 as voted by airline customers around the world. Sri Lankan Airlines dropped 26 places from last year's survey, ranking 81st out of the top 100 airlines. Qatar Airways topped the list, voted as the best airline of the year. Singapore Airlines was voted in second place, followed by ANA, All Nippon Airways, Emirates and Cathay Pacific, rounding up the top 5. The awards, described as the Oscars of the aviation industry, are the most coveted quality accolades for the global airline industry and considered a global benchmark of airline excellence. Welcome back everyone on to sports news. Amid a wave of questions on players' fitness at a media briefing today, Sri Lanka Cricket announced investments in a podiatrist for national players. Dr. Nicholas Sprenger an Australian Olympic silver medalist in swimming, has been consulted by Sri Lanka Cricket to provide pediatric assessment and remedial assistance for the national performance squad.
Prior to Sri Lanka's early exit from the ICC Champions Trophy this month, Dr. Nicholas Sprenger had assessed the Sri Lankan players and has now returned to the country with customised orthotics.
Bowlers are going to be better off in terms of the faster bowlers because they're pounding the ground as they run in. But when it comes to the batsmen, I think the longer the duration of their running between the wickets, it becomes important. So I think the focus particularly won't just be on the shorter form of the game, but actually in 50-50, and also the investment in podiatry is more about understanding the human individual that we have with the player, understanding their structure, improving their mechanics.
Sri Lanka's high-performance training and rehabilitation manager Nirmalan Thanabalasingham also addressed the media.
If you move a certain way, it gives you a higher risk. If we can minimise that risk, we give our players the best chance to perform well, and that means also putting performances together consistently.
CEO of Sri Lanka Cricket Ashley De Silva, meanwhile, said the engagement of Dr. Sprenger as a consultant was a considerable investment, but declined to reveal exact figures.
And the total cost of this project was taken care by Sri Lanka Cricket, which is going to be very costly. And this is in order to prevent, but it's an investment on players. It's not the cost factor. Actually, we don't look at the cost factor when we invest on players.
Former Sri Lankan skipper Mahela Jayawardena took to social media earlier today to refute rumours that he had applied for the now vacant position of Indian coach. Jayawardena, having won the IPL championship with the Mumbai Indians, was tipped for the job across a number of Indian media outlets. The Sri Lanka legend, however, said he was flattered by the speculation but is not looking for a full-time position. More cricket. South Africa beat Pakistan by 3 wickets in their opening game of the ICC Women's World Cup last evening. The South Africans chased down the Pakistanis total of 206 with an over to spare, picking up 3 wicket win in Leicestershire.
Having been put into bat, Pakistan lost 8 wickets on their way to 206 in the allotted 50 overs, with opener Nahida Khan scoring a 101 ball 79. Moseline Daniels and Shabnam Ismail both picked up 2 wickets for South Africa, while skipper Dane van Niekerk, Marizanne Kapp and Suna Luz all claimed a scalp each. In response, South Africa got off to the perfect start with openers Laura Wolfart and Lizelle Lee putting on 113, with both scoring half-centuries. Former skipper Minon du Preez managed 30 while wickets fell at the other end, but Luz and Ismail got together again to carry South Africa over the line.
Those are the winning runs. South Africa winning with 1 over to spare.
To wrap up sports news, a bit of motorsports news. Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo won the first Azerbaijan Grand Prix last evening in a thrilling race that also saw Canadian teenager Lance Stroll finish third after being piped on the line by Valtteri Bottas.
2017 championship leader Sebastian Vettel finished 4th after being penalised for swerving into rival Lewis Hamilton, who came home in 5th. Vettel tops the overall standings on 153 points, ahead of Hamilton on 139 and Finland's Valtteri Bottas with 111. Yesterday's win puts Daniel Ricciardo in 4th with 92 points. Mercedes have now extended their lead in the Constructors' Championship to 24 points over chasers Ferrari, while Red Bull sit 3rd, a further 91 points back.
Welcome back, everyone. On to international news now. A loud bang horrified passengers on board an Air Asia flight. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold their first face-to-face meeting in Washington later today. The two leaders will seek to boost US-Indian relations despite differences over trade, the Paris Climate Accord and immigration.
US President Donald Trump and Indian Premier Narendra Modi will have one-on-one talks expected to focus on defense trade and cooperation, but there is friction in other sectors as Trump has been concerned about the growing US trade deficit with India. Trump has called for reforms of the H-1B visa system that has benefited Indian tech firms and has alleged that India gains unfair advantages from the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement. Meanwhile, President Trump broke a nearly 20-year-old tradition by failing to host a dinner marking the end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. The White House event had been held every year since President Bill Clinton's tenure.
In the United Kingdom, an agreement has been reached which will assure Northern Ireland's Democratic Union's party's support for British Prime Minister Theresa May's minority government. The deal, which comes 2 weeks after the general election resulted in a hung parliament, will see the 10 DUP parliamentarians support Premier May's Conservative Party in key votes.
Under the deal, £1 billion in extra funding will be dispersed for infrastructure, health and education in Northern Ireland to be spent over the next 2 years. The UK's 2% NATO defence spending target will continue to be met, and in return, the DUP will support the Conservatives in Parliament. The deal has prompted calls for matching public investment in Wales and Scotland.
This agreement will operate to deliver a stable government in the United Kingdom's national interest at this vital time.
More international news. At least 6 people died, 20 were hospitalized and 16 were reported missing when a passenger boat sank in a reservoir in northwestern Colombia. About 170 people had been on board the boat, which reportedly sank in less than 5 minutes. Leisure boats quickly came to the rescue, hauling victims from the water and the top deck of the vessels. Officials have not disclosed the cause of the accident and provided few details about the incident in Gauteng, a popular Andean town known for its water sports and recreational activities. We have some breaking international news to report to you right now. The U.S. Supreme Court has partially lifted an injunction against President Donald Trump's travel ban. America's highest court also granted an emergency request from the White House allowing part of the refugee ban to go into effect. Justices said that they would consider in October whether Trump's policy should be upheld or struck down. That story once again. The U.S. Supreme Court has partially lifted an injunction against President Donald Trump's travel ban. Now, America's highest court also granted an emergency request from the White House allowing part of the refugee ban to go into effect. The justice said that they would consider in October whether Trump's policy should be upheld or struck down. Moving on, Katharina Chang is at the Weather Center with the latest weather.
The prevailing wet weather in the southwestern region of the island is expected to recede by Wednesday. We can, however, expect intermittent showers to continue over the western, Sabragamo, central, southern, as well as the northwestern and north-central provinces. District-wise rainfall of about 50 millimeters may be experienced in Kegaul, Ratnapur and Kalutara districts, accompanied by 50 km/h winds. That is it from the Weather Centre. But before we leave, let's take a look at the city-by-city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahesh Johnny. Indiveri Amortha will return tomorrow night at 9 with the very latest. Be sure to join her then. And before we go, we'd like to leave you with a few more visuals of Sri Lanka's Islamic community celebrating Eid al-Fitr, exchanging greetings and goodwill with their fellows. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
Information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.